What is up, everybody? This is a very special vlog. It is a 24-hour poker challenge vlog. That's right, we will be playing at the Wynn Encore poker room for 24 hours straight. A 24-hour long poker session. This will be the longest single poker session that I have ever played. Previously, my sessions normally range between 5 to 6 hours. So this is going to be a lot longer. We're going to play a tournament, then we're going to play cash after the tournament. Let's go.
We are fans of the max late reg strategy. We buy in for $400 into the Wynn Fall Classic. We have about 20 big blinds, which is plenty. Before we even get to the blinds, we pick up ace king suited in early position. We min raise to 2,000. It folds to the button who jams for slightly more. We obviously snap call and our opponent has ace 8 suited. It is domination nation. Let's see a run out. The flop comes ace 10 7. Turn king river 5. We double and finally have a stack. In the next level, we pick up pocket aces in the small line and get action multi-way, but end up getting it in versus someone with top pair. We double again.
What is up, guys? We are on our first break of the tournament. We late reg pretty late, started with 20 bigs, doubled up, and then doubled up again. We have like 80K, so it's going pretty well. Registration is now closed. There's about 20K for first place, 95 people left, so let's run deep, let's get it.
After much of a grind, we make it to the stone money bubble. There are 24 players left with 23 getting paid. A min cash is about $800, which will double our buy-in, so would be quite nice. The blinds are 2,500, 5,000, 5,000. We have 140K or about 30 big blinds. The under the gun player opens for 13K and we just flat on the button with pocket aces. We are trapping and hoping that the blinds squeeze. This does not happen as they fold, and the flop comes 6-4 deuce. There's almost 40K in the pot and our opponent bets 28K. This is a very safe flop, so we go ahead and just call. The turn is the 9 of hearts. Our opponent jams for roughly over pot and putting us all in. If we're up against a set, then so be it, but most of the time I think our opponent will just have a smaller overpair here. And if not that good, then some kind of draw. They have 8-7 of diamonds. Let's hold.
Sorry, you can't video anything.
Oh, that's stupid.
As you saw, we do not hold. The 5 of diamonds comes and we are out on the stone money bubble. What a terrible and annoying way to lose. Nonetheless, it is time for cash.
Alright guys, this is a first. I've never seen cash games go into the tournament floor. That's what's happening right now. It's so busy that we got put on a tournament table because they ran out of tables on the main floor. Pretty good night to play a 24-hour session, I think. Let's get it.
In the first cash game hand of the night, there is a button straddle on for $10, and we raise to $30 on the cutoff with ace deuce of diamonds. Just the button straddle calls and the blinds fold. The flop comes ace 9-7, 2 diamonds. We flop the world with top pair and the nut flush draw. With so much of this board, we decide to check. Our opponent takes a bait and bets $40 into about 60. With so much equity in this hand, we really just want to get money in, so we decide to raise to 130. Our opponent makes a call and the turn comes the 10 of spades. This really is not a great turn as 2 straights get there, jack 8 and 8-6, and if our opponent has a better ace, which he would as we have the worst ace, then we are still behind as well. For these reasons, we decide to check and our opponent actually bets $275. With the nut flush draw and top pair, obviously we are not going anywhere yet, so we make the call. The river is no help as it comes the 8 of hearts. We check and our opponent goes all in for $700, which is almost a pot size bet. Having diamonds here is really bad, obviously, as our opponent is less likely to have diamonds. Having just a weak ace by the river is also really bad. And now with 4 to a straight, this makes for a pretty easy fold. Our opponent flashes the 8 of clubs and we feel a lot better as he tells us he had 8-6. Obviously a bad river for us, but a really bad river for him to continue getting paid as well.
Alright guys, check this mask out. Here with Nate. Been playing with him all night.
I'm the donkey at the table.
No. He's the guy who's winning all the money. But it's pretty funny. It's pretty realistic too.
Smash that like and subscribe button.
There you go.
And the notification bell.
Hey!
The next hand is actually a bomb pot, which is quite rare at the Wynn, but it does sometimes happen. If you're not familiar what a bomb pot is, everyone puts in $20 pre-flop, and we go straight to a flop. In this case, there are 9 players at our table, so $20 each is $180 already in the pot. We are in early position with ace 10 off, and the flop comes ace 9 6 2 diamonds. It checks to the cutoff, who bets 125, and the button calls, and we make the call as well. In these bomb pots, you really have to tread lightly, as people can literally have any two cards. Top pair is often no good. With this said, we do have a decent kicker and the ace of diamonds, so we are going to continue. The turn comes the 8 of diamonds. Thankfully, this time the action checks through. The river is a deuce of spades. Unfortunately, it is not a diamond, we do not get our flush, and we are left with just top pair. We check, the cutoff checks, and the button checks as well. We go to showdown, and the button ends up having a 7 for a worse ace. We show our hand, hoping we're good, but the cutoff ends up having 9-6 for flop 2 pair. Bomb pots can be a lot of fun, but can often be quite tough to navigate.
What's up, guys? It is 3 a.m. We're about halfway through the challenge, and we are actually going to get pizza. Alright guys, we have finally secured the pizza at the halfway point of this 24-hour challenge. It's about 3 a.m. We waited too long for this pizza. It better be good. Let's go.
It was quite good, 8 out of 10, would recommend. In the next hand, we have pocket 10s in early position and raise to $20. The low jack, the button, the small blind, and the big blind all make the call. The flop comes 10-9-7, 2 clubs. We flop top set on a pretty draw heavy board. We get sneaky here and actually decide to check, and our plan works magically as the low jack, whose short stack, goes all in for $90. The button calls and the blinds fold. With no club in our hand and so many draws possible, we are going to bump it up. We make it 350, and the button makes the call. The turn comes a 6 of hearts. At this point, there's almost $900 in the pot. This really isn't that great of a turn, as now any 8 beats us. Our opponent's 8x holdings are likely to be pocket 8s, 9-8, 8-7 sometimes, ace 8 of clubs would be really nice. With this said, I don't think they should have that many 8s. They can also still definitely have a flush draw. And we would really hate to see the turn go check. For this reason, we decide to continue and we bet 450, leaving about $200 behind. Our opponent makes a fold and we go to showdown versus the short stack that was all in. The river is a nice clean brick, the deuce of diamonds. We show and scoop a nearly $1,000 pot.
Show me a winner. She's got a set of 10s.
In this hand, we have ace queen of spades, and there is an under the gun 1 open for $30. There is no straddle, this is just a very large open, so for this reason, we decide to just call in early position. Middle position player calls, and the button actually 3-bets to 80, which is very small. The under the gun 1 player calls, and we decide to just call, and the middle position player calls. Sounds like your classic cash game hand where there's an unreasonable 3-bet and everyone calls. We are 4 ways to a flop that comes queen jack 7. We have top pair, but this is obviously a very wet board with the flush draw and straight draws out there. It checks to the button, who bets 155. The under the gun 1 player actually calls, and with top pair, top kicker here, we're not going to go anywhere quite yet, even though we really need to be careful here as this is a multi-way pot and it's getting bigger and bigger. The turn is the ace of diamonds. There's now about $800 in the pot, and when the under the gun 1 player checks, we decide to actually take the betting lead. We now have 2 pair and unblock the flush draws from the hearts and the diamonds. I would really hate to check here and have the button check back, and then the river be a flush completing or straight completing card. For this reason, we decide to bet 475. Looks like no one had anything as both of our opponents make the fold. This was certainly a bit of a dicey spot. We could have definitely been screwed if someone had king 10 or a set.
Alright guys, we're taking a quick break. It's 7 a.m. We are staying true to our word. 24-hour Poker Fest is upon us. We are more than halfway complete. As you can see, the room is pretty empty. There's 2 2-5 tables still, and 2 1-3 tables, and 1 PLO table, I think. So, not too many tables. Obviously, it's 7 a.m. People have been here all night. Time has gone pretty quickly. We've been very card dead, like very card dead. Like if I recorded all of the terrible hands that I folded, it would be disgusting. Otherwise, we are maybe break even or up just a little bit from cash, and obviously we lost 400 from the tournament, so still down. Let's see if we can pull out a win tonight, or this morning, I should say. Let's get it.
In the next hand, there is an early position open for $20, the hijack and the cutoff call, and we come along in the small blind with pocket 7s. We are praying for action as the flop comes 7-7-4. That's right, we flopped quads. It checks to the hijack who bets $20. The cutoff makes the call, and we're just gonna make the call as well. We could raise here, but we really want to do as little as possible to let people know that we have a 7, let alone 2 7s. The turn comes the 9 of diamonds. This is actually a pretty good card as it brings in a flush draw as well. This time it checks to the cutoff who bets 105. We make the call and the hijack makes the fold. We are heads up and the river is the ace of hearts. We are praying that our opponent bets here, but unfortunately they do not. We check and our opponent checks back.
I only have quads.
What? Oh, I was drawing that. Oh, that's good to know.
I only have
Quads.
two in the window too.
This is pro. He
Oh my
play
God,
pocket
what would
tens,
that-
he gets
what would that
7.
get
No.
you on the floor?
Pocket
Why
7,
is
he
it
gets
first two in the
flats.
window too? Oh my God, that's like $1 million fucking hand, man.
These reactions are gold.
Sevens, lucky sevens in the window out there. Oh wow, you're on box 5, dude.
In the next hand, we are far into the morning hours of our session, and you know we are as we are straddling on the button for $10. There's an early position raise to $20, a late position call, and we decide to call on the button with 6-5 of diamonds. It folds to the big blind, who actually 3-bets to 140. It folds back around to us on the straddle, and we should really just be done with this hand, but because we are so deep, I decide to actually call and see what develops. We are in position, and the flop comes King 8-8. Our opponent in the big blind checks, and we're not really going to make any moves here, we just go ahead and check back. The turn comes the 10 of diamonds. Our opponent checks again, and at this point, we're not going to win with 6 high, so we need to start bluffing. Our opponent has checked twice, and is very unlikely to be trapping. There's about $300 in the pot, and we go for a pretty large sizing of $200. Our opponent tanks for a while and brings music to our ears as he says this.
If I show you, will you show me?
Sure.
Fold.
Wow.
Somehow, our opponent folds queens face up. Although I was planning on unloading the clip and firing on the river if our opponent called the turn, I really don't recommend folding queens to 1-bet like that.
Wow.
You want me to show you?
Hold on. I said if I show you, will you show me? You said sure.
So you do?
And
Are
if
you
you
sure?
don't turn those over, I will grab those and turn those over.
Wow.
Sorry.
Holy shit.
Jensen.
Stone cold nothing. Oh
Jensen.
my God. Nice hand.
In the next hand, we have a premium, under the gun 1, pocket queens, and we raise to $20. The cutoff and the big blind both make the call. The flop comes ace, queen, 3. We flop another set on an ace high board. This board is relatively dry, so we are going to start with a check. It checks to the cutoff, who bets $30. The big blind folds, and we just make the call. The turn is the jack of hearts. We check and our opponent bets $130. When our opponent bets this big, they obviously like their hand, and we are pretty deep, so we want to start building a bigger pot. We raise to $375. Our opponent makes the call. The river is a total brick, it's the deuce of clubs. At this point, there's about $900 in the pot, and our opponent has roughly 1k, maybe less, maybe more. Either way, I think we only have one move here. We go all in for about pot, or $900 to $1,000. Our opponent thinks for a while and eventually folds. I do wish we would have check raised a bit larger on the turn so that our river jam was less sizable. But I'm going to cut myself a break here as I was very sleep deprived and probably wasn't thinking about his stack size too hard.
Man, look, King 10. I don't believe you.
Show the pocket 10.
No, it's
show
it's a bullshit.
What is up, guys? We are taking another break. It is almost 12 p.m. It's like 11 a.m. and we have been awake for a long time. We have about 5 more hours left until the 24-hour challenge is over. Then we're gonna go home and go to sleep. Right now, the only side effects are really just quite tired. I just started to fall asleep a bit at the poker table and my eyes are just kind of like sensitive to light as I came out of the casino for the first time in a long time. But otherwise, you know, it's fine. It is what it is. Let's get this done and let's have a profitable 24-hour session. Let's go.
One of the last hands of the night is a huge one. There is a button straddle for $10 and the under the gun player raises to $30. We call in late position with pocket 4s. The flop comes ace 5-4. That's right, we flopped another set. Oh, how glorious. There's about $80 in the pot and our opponent bets 25. We are deep as hell to start this hand, so we are not going to slow play. We go ahead and just raise to 125. Our opponent makes a call. The turn is the king of diamonds. We are quite happy to not see a heart, and we are going to keep firing. We bet 325 into about 330. Our opponent once again calls our pot-sized bet. The river is the six of spades. The only thing that gets there is 8-7, but it is very unlikely for our opponent to have that. We are most likely up against a very strong ace or ace-king. We have our opponent covered, and we jam for $1,200 into about 1K.
All in.
Our opponent thinks for not that long and flicks in the call. We got him for an over 3K pot. This 24-hour session is coming to a very nice end. Last hand of the night, we pick up Big Slick, Ace King in an early position and raise to $20. The cutoff 3-bets us to $65. We are very deep here, so we're not going to 4-bet as we do not want to get 5-bet. The flop eases some tension as it comes Ace 6-4. We flop top and our opponent bets 150. This is a very large bet and we have no reason to raise, so we just make the call. The turn is a 3 of clubs. We check and our opponent checks back. The river is a deuce of hearts. When our opponent checks a turn back, they most likely have an underpair to the ace or a weak ace that they're trying to pot control with. For this reason, we do not want to let them check back, so we decide to bet 425. Our opponent tanks for a while and has the calling chips in his hand until he finally releases and makes the call. We end the night with an over $1,200 pot.
Alright guys, the 24-hour challenge is over. We cashed out for over $4,000, so pretty good session. We have been awake since 8 a.m. yesterday, which was 8 a.m. Friday, and that is over 30 hours. We've been playing poker for just about 24 hours straight. Had a couple meals at the Wynn. Gonna go eat a big meal now at Chick-fil-A and then go to sleep. I do not recommend doing this, but it was a fun challenge. As you can tell, I'm pretty groggy and tired, and it is what it is. We are going to get some sleep. We're pretty happy that we booked a winning session for over 24 hours. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more poker content. Let's go.